families and your friends, and just all come down and be a part of this expo and package these meals. Some will stay here local to benefit an organization called Youth Hope. The organization helps take care of the homeless teens that are in the area. So anyway, we'd love to have you all come down and join us. It's going to be a great day, a great event, and it's going to do a lot of great things to help the people of Nepal and the local community here. So thank you.
Well, that's just awesome. Y'all have to come down. It's really fun. There's music. There's going to be food out here. I think it's a pizza guy is coming. And Bev, of course, from Let's Go Shopping with Bev is on the air with me. How you doing, Bev?
I'm doing good. How are you, Aaron?
You know, it is beautiful. I got my co-host and husband, Tobin Brinker, with me today.
I'm here to do my sidekick duties, and we're going to have a lot of fun out here today, so please come by.
And, of course, Tobin and Aaron Brinker, that's me and my husband. We're part of the On the Brink, the morning show on Kcaa, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 a.m. Let's Go Shopping with Bev is Friday afternoons at 4 o'clock. And we hope that you come out and join us today. It's on the Tri-City Center between Alabama and Tennessee, next to Burlington Coat Factory. You'll see all the tents. It's fantastic. You have to come out.
Well, Aaron, you did a good job. I'm telling you, yay! And I'm so glad that Aaron and her hubby are with me. It's absolutely amazing, everybody. So come on down. Let's feed America.
And Nepal.
And Nepal. And the vendors are here. The music is here. We got food down here. It's absolutely fabulous. So get on your flip-flops, come on down, and have some fun.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. We'll be back in another hour. Keep listening to KCAA AM 1050.
All right, bye.
Here's a look at the community calendar. I'm Carlos Gonzalez. The city of San Bernardino invites you to take advantage of Free Dump Day. If you haven't wanted mattresses, appliances, tires, electronics, or shrubs to get rid of, mark the last Saturday of each month on your calendar. You must provide proof of residency with your driver's license or utility bill. No hazardous or construction materials will be accepted. To find out the times and places for Free Dump Day, Google City of San Bernardino calendar. If you're looking for something fun, interesting, and free to do, the City of San Bernardino History and Railroad Museum is open every Saturday from 10 till 3. Schedule a group tour by calling 909-888-3634 and learn some fascinating firsts about San Bernardino. That number again, 909-888-3634. And that's a look at the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Carlos Gonzalez.
Hey, this is Steve Sanchez, and do you know in 2007, I went off to the doctor for a basic checkup, and he informed me, Steve, you got plaque built up around your heart, and you're going to need stents. I informed him, with no offense, doc, I need a second opinion. I go off to a naturopathic doctor, and he introduces me to something called Zango. It's a juice made of the whole mangosteen fruit. You know, the mangosteen fruit has been used for centuries for healing. So, hey, what do I have to lose? I tried it. 3 months later, I go back to my cardiologist, no plaque, no stents, and I'm proud to say 7.5 years later, I'm stent free. I want to turn you on to Zango because it's the only true 100% mangosteen fruit juice. It's patented. In fact, the Mayo Clinic is paying attention because they're doing an extensive study because they cannot ignore all the testimonials around the world. I want to give you a free sample of the Zango juice today. Simply call 888-309-5656. That's 888-309-5656 for your free mangosteen juice sample today from the company called Zango.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Empire Talks back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. B.B. King is dead. The thrill is gone. But we're still here. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for all of that. I do appreciate the fact that we're still echoing over B.B. King. He was buried in Nola, India, yesterday, day before. That's one of those Mississippi towns right up the road from where I was born in Macomb, Mississippi. Anybody that's familiar with that, throw your hand up and holler. But we're here in San Bernardino. Empire Talks back in the Inland Empire, talking about issues that affect the whole planet, the whole world. So no matter where you are, whatever we're talking about has a seat in your house. So based on that, I'd like to welcome everybody into today's show. We are going to talk about mortgage foreclosure, how not to do it, why not to do it, and how you can go to a workshop next Saturday to be sure that you aren't negatively affected by the foreclosure promise. Well, it's not the promise, but anytime you have the promise of having a house, you have the promise of the potential of foreclosure if you don't make all your payments. And it's possible to not make all your payments if you don't have one of those great jobs here in America that some people have, and most people have some means of income, but maybe it works all the way and maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're all the way free, maybe you're not. Maybe you didn't know that you were free. Maybe you're like the people in Texas back in 1865 when General Granger came in and told them, hey, the war is over 2.5 years ago, and you guys have worked a couple of extra years, brought in a few extra harvests and all of that, and it'll be stacked up with your receipt when we provide you with your 40 acres and a mule sometime in the next 200-300 years. But on the way to that, everybody better pray hard, work hard, and hope that the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. I'm Wallace Allen on the case. Empire Talks back. We've got Miss Alexis Reeves with us today. She's our, I keep saying intern, but she's earning her way through here, and we are writing her a check for $1 million every week. Hopefully she'll get to cash it in the next millennium, but
she got that check, Wallace.
She did get the check.
It's called a diploma.
You are so right. So I should just tear this little piece of paper thing up that we're talking about and accept the fact that she has, she's gonna graduate. You graduated. She graduated
Thursday.
And I missed your graduation, but I was there emotionally, and you did a great job. And you, straight A's?
Yes.
Straight A's plus because you're in a baccalaureate program.
Yes, I graduated with the highest honors. So there was honors, there's high honors, and then there's highest honors. Empire
Talks back, sitting here with the highest honored student at Cajon High School.
Yes.
Yes, in class of 2015. And she's on her way to Temple University,
right.
Philadelphia. Ooh. Very good. I'm very proud of you. July 10th, you will be going, well, that'll be your birthday. And
July 9th is when I have to be there. July 9th and July 10th, and July 9th is my birthday.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to be doing everything we can to accompany you there and be sure that everybody receives you with the respect and adulation that they should. And Mr. Jamal Lilly, how are you this morning?
I'm excellent.
What's the issue that you see that we need to be sure is on the table today?
Oh, my goodness. Don't start me with that.
Is it a banquet table or is it a little one meal kind of deal?
Oh, no, it's the long king's table, man. You know. We need a 3-hour show.
We need a 3-hour show. Okay, well, based on that, I'd like to introduce Miss Linda Jackson. She's with, tell us about your company, NID. What does NID stand for?
NID stands for the National Investment Division of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
And what do they do?
Man, they are democracy in housing.
Democracy in housing.
Democracy in housing. So we've been advocating for the past, I want to say, over 36 years.
Okay, go on and say it. It's okay. 36 years.
Over 36 years. And we have 33 offices across the country. And in Little San Bernardino, our office on the west side in the community is their #1 office.
Wow. Your office is on the largest and most important street in the country.
That is absolutely
right there on Route 66.
Absolutely.
They give it a little alternate name as it comes through San Bernardino, and in your particular section, it's called Mount Vernon Avenue.
Mount Vernon, and you know, when God orders your steps, He makes no mistake. He ordered my steps to open my doors 7 years ago, right on my church grounds. My church is St. Paul AME, and that's where my office is, on their grounds.
I just got a message. I'm not sure it's from God or not, but it wants you to turn around, come in here a little bit, because you're on camera. We forgot about the fact that you are on camera this morning. We were looking at the back of your head. Your hair is very pretty, and all of that is fine, but we'd like to get a little bit more. You don't have to start all over again, but how has your church been involved in your NID and your advocacy for home ownership? How has your church been involved?
When I say God orders your steps, I truly, truly believe He ordered my steps, because our presiding elder, Norman Copeland, took me by the hand. I'm with the AME Church, and the AME Church is connected. So he connected me with all of his churches that were in his district. And I started before I actually got funded. So it just fell in my head.
They looked up and saw that you had so much contact with so many people who were willing to help and some that could be helped, that they figured it was probably easier to hire you than have you beating on the door trying to make them come and serve.
You're absolutely right. This whole opportunity.
She got the potential to be a troublemaker.
It fell in my lap.
Very good.
And so I take no credit, because this is my purpose that God has destined for me.
Well, speaking of credit and no credit, that seems to be possibly the situation that some of the people are in who need advocacy for home ownership.
Absolutely.
The credit or the lack of credit, how important is that? And I understand that you're having an event this coming Saturday, June 6th, and it is about avoiding foreclosure. Tell us about that, what your intentions are and what people need to do to participate.
Well, the Way World Outreach Church came to me. This is at their mission, downtown San Bernardino. And the event will be held at 1001 North Arrowhead Avenue, San Bernardino. It's from 10 to 3 a.m. And we have the servicers, which are your lenders, that have your delinquency loans, or if you want a principal reduction, we are working with Keep Your Home California, where they have $2 billion to help you reinstate. That means to catch up your payments. Principal reduction, that means if you're upside down. Unemployment, if you're unemployed. Also, they have the opportunity to pay your mortgage up to $3,000. So we're also going to be introducing you to our credit class and also introducing you to our first-time home buyer class, along with the loss mitigation, how to keep your home.
You mentioned some things that I bet a lot of people would like to hear. How do they qualify for? Who's fenced into these particular programs? Can you go back through what you were saying and give us an idea who those programs are basically designed for?
The programs are basically designed for...
Well, let's name the program. Let's see. Name a program for me. You just did.
So for loss mitigation, if you're struggling, can't make the payment, you've called and you're going around in a circle.
And are you in receipt of a foreclosure notice at this point?
You don't have to be.
Okay, just having a hard time paying.
Just having a hard time. You've missed a couple of payments. But our job...
I've got about 14 million people out there that are in that category. Maybe it's only 4 that are hearing us right now, and maybe only 2 that are paying attention, and only 1 million that can actually show up. And because you don't have room for all of those. But tell us about that situation. Loss mitigation, you can't afford, you've been paying something, or you've been paying it all, you've been paying enough that you aren't in foreclosure. What can happen for that person?
If you're not in foreclosure and you're struggling, then we would like to see if you could qualify for a program with Keep Your Home, depending upon what that problem is. If you are in default, meaning that you have missed a payment, or 2 payments, or 3 payments, my job on that event is to put your package together, put that package in the hand of the lender who is there, and allow me to be your advocate. Now I know they have a completed packet.
Very good. So you help the person or the family put together those things necessary to go address these dragons that are there to either save their life or set them on fire. And you set them up so that they could be saved, right?
Absolutely, Wallace. And that will be our job on that day.
Many people have homes that were valued at one level when they moved in and purchased it, and over the period of time, and I won't talk about the thievery of the bankers and things of that sort, because I'm not really qualified to, but that's why I have you here, Mr. Lilly. I don't want to get stuck, because when I get there I start wondering why those guys didn't go to jail and anything, but I want to ask you instead, when a person's house is, I guess they call it upside down, when you owe more on it than the appraisal or value of it is, and I heard you mention a program of that sort, who qualifies for that, and how do they determine that person's eligibility?
Keep Your Home is determined to help people who are upside down. So it's income driven as well, but if you owe more than your house is worth, then keep your home. We can see if you qualify on that day, actually, for them to do a principal reduction. Your servicer has to actually opt in to take that money and to delete that principal. And just about every servicer has.
They have to agree that, well, you owe us this amount, but we understand the house is only worth that amount, and we're going to agree to change your total principal debt to somewhere close to the new value or somewhere in between. How do they make that decision? And can you give us some idea of how a person actually qualifies for that? What kind of ratios are involved, or is that against the law for you to do on the radio?
And that is done by the Keep Your Home counselor. We are certified to see if you even are approved for the application. Basically, when you are approved for that application, you're going to get whatever we actually see what you qualify for. The key is to make sure that the bank will take the money from Keep Your Home California. That's a state-driven program.
Okay. I had no doubt that it was going to work when you said to be sure that the bank would take the money, but then you added a codicil to that, because I know the banks will take the money. I didn't know that. I'm just not sure that they'll give you the credits and stuff that you want. As you can see, I'm not a great admirer of the process and procedures that banks and mortgage companies apparently go through. But I do have tremendous respect for you, Miss Linda, and I do think that what you're trying to do is to help people, and I have no doubt that if they join you on this coming Saturday, that they would be helpful. We're going to take a short break. Remind people that though the thrill is gone, life still goes on. When we come back, I'd like for you to tell people what they do need to bring in order to be able to take advantage of your services at this Saturday, June 6th event, foreclosure. What's your event called?
It's called our Foreclosure Prevention Workshop.
Foreclosure Prevention Workshop. That's what we're going to look forward to. We'll take this very short break. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, speaking with Miss Linda Jackson. She is the director of the NID program, which is an advocacy program to help you keep your house, get your house, and keep those bank people on your side. We'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
KCAA is your CNBC news affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and though he's free from your spell, we all know that in order to be free, you better come up with some money to pay your way out. So, and he did. B.B. King made people who were closet blues likers
feel okay about coming on.
Yeah, it's okay to come on out of the closet. You like the blues, you have the blues, and blues does not necessarily mean you're feeling sad. It's just a nice little groove to move to. You can be successful despite the fact that you've got the blues, right? Okay. We're going to talk about that. Miss Linda, before we went to break, we were talking about your workshop, Foreclosure Prevention Workshop, and there are some things that if people bring them to that workshop, you'll be able to use that to actually help folks get deals done that day, because you'll have servicers from various banks, people who are actually receiving your money, payments for your house, and you'll be bringing them in so that you can actually talk to people about their specific circumstance. Is that correct?
Yes, and I just want to make one mention too, because Cheryl Brown is our assembly person. She is she's sponsoring this event for me, and Ricky Van Johnson is co-sponsoring this event. But let's just make one thing clear: they may not be able to make a determining factor that day, but what they will give me is a report of how many people they were able to do a trial mod and how many people they were able to actually work out something with them. So I will be asking for that report. Therefore, then I can track it. Everything is system driven. I'm connected to the bank's system. It's called Hope Loan Portal. They will respond to me by email. I will respond to them back.
You keep saying connected. I keep imagining this little round table where there's some cigars being smoked and a little brandy being pushed around, and people realizing that your connection is official. And is that kind of like it is, or do you guys?
It's actually
it's
official.
It's not a backroom deal, no?
You know what? My job is to have relationships with all of the servicers. Therefore, it's easier for me to pick up the phone and have a conversation.
And you'll be able to do that as an advocate for the various people who have put forth the information, gotten engaged with a potential agreement with their servicer or with their bank, and you'll be able to check that. Looking over their shoulder, giving them a call to be sure that they're not forgetting that you're connected.
Absolutely.
All right. That sounds like you may have a big brother or somebody that can help make this thing happen.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the relationship is so great. Even with Bank of America, I'm traveling to Las Vegas on the 5th and the 6th to do a workshop with them. And then with Ocwen Bank, I actually have partnered with the NAACP, their national office out of D.C., and traveled with Ocwen NAACP to Chicago. We'll be going to Florida. So the expertise that NID has to give to the servicer has been very valuable to them.
Can we go backwards and look a little bit at your success record, how things have been going up to this point prior to the workshop that we have going on? Can you give us a little example of how successful you've been, how many homes you've saved, or how many bankers our connection has made disappear?
The bank.
I was just kidding.
I could tell you.
We haven't made anybody disappear. Miss Linda's not in that level of connection. I'm just
nobody. Nobody disappears.
To my knowledge, right? I don't want this to be looked at as some kind of conspiracy, because if you're guilty, all I'm guilty of is letting you talk on the microphone. Did they get that part right? Okay, very good.
Yes, they did.
I'm not backing away from you at all. I'm just being sure my grandkids don't see their granddaddy go to jail. Okay.
They're always listening.
But the wonderful thing about what we do is the banks will say 80% of the people that we see typically get help. So that's a large number that the bank gave me. I really didn't have an idea of how many people we actually helped. Our mandate from Congress, because we're funded under Congress, is to do everything humanly possible to keep that homeowner in their home. And we're also funded by HUD, and HUD tells us that we must educate them on what sustainability is. Really, what I've seen me to be is not only a counselor, but a coach. And a coach meaning that I have to change your attitude about how you spend your money, how you save. Even in our own office, we have told our staff, and they are doing it, 5 days a week we want you to bring your lunch. They're spending on an average of $10 a day going to get Starbucks or whatever in the morning and then lunch. They're taking that $10 a day. At the end of the week, they have actually $50 they have saved. So put that in a savings. Excellent. And this has truly been working, and I've been doing it too.
Very good.
So, just change your posture. What are your what is it that you want and what is it that you need?
Very important. And I must say that the thoughts of all of those homemade lunches are making me wonder, what's the favorite sandwich?
Mine is not
Wallace, you're so
sandwiches.
It's such a trifling question. Ask somebody that's
It's
coming in
a
with
salad, Wallace. It's a salad, okay?
Just from the man who tell you he likes chicken backs better than anything else.
I do too.
What else?
I do too. Chicken
Because
backs.
nobody else wants them.
You can't come to the chicken dinner because there's only one chicken back, and I don't want us arguing over that chicken back. But you're a very strong advocate, and I can say this: your positive attitude. You haven't bitten the bait on any of the little things I've tossed out there. You've kept a bright attitude about it, and I think that that should allow us to continue to encourage people to join you on June 6th at your conference.
May I add something?
Oh yes, please.
I just wanted to let people know that they should not fear this type of proceeding or this type of process. There's a lot of times that people feel like, well, if I go in here and the banks are already after my house and they're already after me, that I might get turned down. I might be unsuccessful in some way. The thing I want to get across is that the foreclosure is actually more expensive for the bank than the principal reduction. These people want this to happen. The politicians that are funding you want this to happen because it contributes or maintains the tax base, et cetera, et cetera. There are forces, political and financial, that will be at least supportive, if not all the way advocating this should happen. And so I wanted to make sure that we get the message across to these folks. They shouldn't fear coming in, laying their cards on the table, letting it be known, I need help. And they may not get true financial help from the bank, but they will get it from you. And I commend you for, in the tradition of the AME Church, we think of Biddy Mason and we think of her grandson and all these things. I mean, we need those kinds of things back in the community. So I commend you for doing that. You're not able to provide a panacea, but you're able to provide a view to a better day.
Two things.
Thank you.
One, Alexis, Biddy Mason. Put that on your list of things for people to look up and to come and share information with our group about. And Miss Linda, you were going to tell people exactly what cards that will be laid on the table, what you would like for them to bring with them in order that they could actually participate to the fullest at this workshop.
It's important that you bring these documents so that I can put a complete package. What gets you a decision is a completed package, which you have not been able to complete. The one thing that just really frustrates me to no end, and I know you might get calls on this, Wallace, but the fact of the matter is, when you bought that home, your loan officer carried you hand by hand, document by document. But in order for you to save this home, they want you to put the documents together yourself, which is really impossible for you to do due to the fact that you are broken, you are confused, you are ashamed, you are scared. So right now, you're not in the right frame of mind. So you won't open your mail. You won't even come if you see it coming from your bank because you think they're going to take your home. I implore you to bring me your mail. Allow me to open your mail. And when you leave that workshop on the 6th, at that time, I want you to actually open your mail. Now, this is very important, audience. If you got the loan mod of a lifetime, what you want, what you can afford, what is sustainable for you. If you said, Linda, $1,500 would be great. Next month, I want you to put away your new payment of $1,500 a month. Do you have that? Because my job is, if the bank cannot help you, then it's my job to get you to a safe landing. I implore you to come to the credit class because that's where it's going to start. So these are the documents that you're going to need. I need your mortgage statement. Some of you don't even know where that is because you haven't made a payment in so long. Don't worry if you don't have it, but that's important. A hardship letter. Why should the bank help you? What is your hardship? Now, I don't want to hear you say I'm just upside down. I want to hear what is your real hardship. 2 months pay stubs. I have to verify that you can actually, if they helped you, could you pay the payment? I need 2 months most bank statements, recent bank statements. I need your 2013 and 14 tax returns and a utility bill just to confirm that you actually do live there. So let me say this. I can't make it work. It is what it is. But how you get help from the bank, it is in your narrative. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's truly in that hardship that allows me to get you the help that you need. So please come out on the 6th. Please allow me to help you. Please allow me to put a package together and let me fight for you with the banks.
I see why the church was so adamant about helping you. They were concerned that you may come in and take over. You could qualify to be a bishop the way you were preaching right there. And I know it's sincere and earnest, and that's what I really appreciate about it. You were listening to Miss Linda Jackson. She is the director of the NID program. That's your home advocacy program here in the city.
Let me correct you, Wallace.
Please.
I am the manager. I'm a regional manager, not the executive director. But I am the regional manager.
But she's a person that if things don't go right, you give her a call and she'll hook you up. We really do appreciate her being in here with us today. We're going to ask you to stick around in case there's some other things that we need to go through, some other comments that you need to make. We're going to take a very short break and we're going to come back and extend this conversation about freedom. We're going to take it back a little bit further back to the time once again when General Granger came in 2.5 years later than the Emancipation Proclamation had actually taken place, to inform people that the war was over and that, by the way, before the war was over, slavery was abolished. But I'm sorry to get this information to you late, but we do thank you for those couple of harvests that you helped us get through. We'll be back to talk about the holiday, the Holler Day, the Holla Out Loud Day that took place or takes place in the month of June, throughout the month of June now. It used to be just one day, but the whole month of June has been dedicated to freedom, discussing and celebrating the Freedom Day that Juneteenth represents. And the importance of it is that it leads you right into the 4th of July. And I really think that's an amazing thing to consider and remember, because black folk, very symbolic in terms of representing what America's true freedom is about. From Mr. Crispus Attucks, who shed the first blood, to some of the people that will be shedding or demonstrating how much blood they've shed at the June 6th home advocacy workshop, because some of us are still bleeding despite the freedom. But that's what we have to do, folks. You got to bleed if you want to be free. Nothing wrong with that. We'll take a very short break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk to Miss Dolores Amor about the Riverside Juneteenth celebration. She is the founder of that celebration, and happy to be that way. She looks like she's doing very good working to make this happen on an annual basis. We'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. It's your day, my day. This is an information exchange, and I hope that we are doing something that will change your life, providing information that will make things better for you or make you so excited about life that you'll be willing to go out and make things easier and better for someone else. Who? Hey, try the neighbor, your next door neighbor. Try the people across the street. Better than that, try someone in the house with you. You know, you people you wake up with and all the people you take for granted all the time. Wouldn't hurt to stop for a moment and say, hey, I really appreciate you and the things that you do. A little hug and a kiss wouldn't be bad. Don't stretch it out. You don't want to mess up keeping your appointments for the rest of the day. But that little kiss in the morning is a good thing. How you doing, Miss Dolores?
I'm fine, Wallace.
Tell me how much fun you're having collecting people and vendors and reminding folk that your event, which is scheduled for June 6th. A lot of June 6th stuff. How do we? What are you doing to keep people excited about this? To keep it on its annual schedule?
Wallace, this is going to be our 15th annual Riverside Juneteenth celebration. We have been in the trenches of Riverside, San Bernardino, and the Inland Empire for the last 23 years. We have been public for the last 15.
You were later than the 2.5 years you started. Juneteenth is a kind of like a family tradition, and then as the family gets bigger, then we find that other families are doing it. Right. And before it becomes an official activity in the community, it's been an unofficial activity for years, as you've just described.
Right.
So we were in somebody's backyard celebrating for 7 years before you put together the official activity.
Right, exactly. We are a part of a larger movement which would like to see June 19th celebrated as a national holiday. And as you have mentioned before, many communities have Juneteenth celebrations. Most of them center around the 19th of June. But we do ours in Riverside early because there are other Juneteenth events, and we would like for everyone to participate in all of them, from Los Angeles, San Diego, even into Coachella Valley. Our Juneteenth celebration is going to be at Boardwell Park, Stratton Community Center, 2008 Martin Luther King Boulevard in downtown Riverside. The event starts at 12 noon and runs until 6 p.m. We have a full day of entertainment. We will have merchandise vendors as well as food, delicious food vendors. I think one of our favorite people is Big D, Texas Barbecue. He's been with us for the last 15 years, and I'm giving him a special shout out because he took a chance on us when we first started. The program consists of honoring people in the community who have helped young people to go to college or to get out of trouble. Mm-hmm. We also have a mini museum which highlights some of the very special contributions that African Americans have made, not only to the United States, but around the world. We do an Afro-Mexican connection because many people do not know that there were over 1 million Africans taken into Mexico and enslaved.
And reminded that the first president of Mexico was an African.
Yes.
Though his name was Guerrero.
Yeah, his name was Vicento Guerrero, and he led the people of the then territories of France and Spain into rebellion, and he was successful in liberating the country. And he is actually known as the Lincoln of Mexico because during his short reign, he freed all of the slaves and he abolished some of the caste systems that were developed in early Mexico. We also highlight Don Pio Pico, who was the last governor of Mexico under the Mexicans, and he was an Afro-Mexican. And you can go to Pico Rivera and see his picture, and there's no doubt about who he is.
I think people on the planet have a bad memory because according to the real anthropology, everybody's from Africa. Everybody's related to Lucy.
You can go to the state legislature. You can see a portrait of Queen Calafia painted right
That's
there.
right. So one of the things that I note is that every activity, any administrative, any movement that black folk start, they open it up for the full family.
Yes.
And we see that everybody on the planet benefits from those activities that we start. And so based on that, everybody should be happy about the fact we're starting another movement of keeping people together, because it seems like the further we get from the nucleus, the crazier we get in terms of how we care about people and how we're willing to engage in war all of our life as opposed to loving each other and respecting the one thing that we all say exists, and we all, because it's so big that we see it differently, we think that we're getting an exclusive look, and that's at God. People tell me that they understand and know all about God. How can one little old person be big enough to see all of God, enough to tell you and me what's wrong with how you approach God? I find it ridiculous, but at the same time, I know how to keep my mouth shut in certain places where the devil is hollering and screaming.
But you wouldn't need to do that in this. Riverside has it. I'm a River Cityan. Riverside has
I like
a
that
unique.
word, River Cityan. See, that's why I keep him around. I would have never been able to put that together as a word without.
Well, not only that, my dad used to run Stratton Center back in the 70s. But here's the thing. We just laid to rest somebody that exemplified what you're talking about. I know you know. That's Miss Doriella Anderson. She just was laid to rest 2 days ago. This is the lady that founded the Community Settlement House, which is right there in the same community. This particular institution, without getting long-winded about it, did just what we're talking about. It brought the community together. You didn't have to go to court. You didn't have to go to the streets. You didn't have to go from the shoulders or with the guns and knives. You go to the settlement house and you worked it out. And that was an amazing piece that was put into that community 45 years ago by this amazing person, and it still stands today.
And I wonder who worked so hard to take away her influence and take things to the point of where people are, again, ignoring the fact that they can settle things themselves. Like Miss Linda says about, it's very important that you have all of these materials when you come to me, but if you don't, I can work around it. Why? Because I'm willing to. And that's that willingness, that thing to says, okay, there's some fences, but I'm going to work hard to create a gate so that we can work together. It's very important. It's extremely important when you folks hear us talking about an African American based holiday, that you don't feel that it's to keep you away if you're not African American, or acknowledging that you're African American, or remembering that blood and that spirit does flow through you. Juneteenth is a day of freedom, respecting freedom, and it's everybody's welcome. And I just take that time because I've been publishing West Side Story newspaper for 27 years, and I still run into people who've known that and ask the question, is it okay for me to advertise in your paper? Well, why would you ask that? Well, because I'm white. Well, who do you think most people buy their stuff from? White. Of course you can advertise. And I'm sorry that whatever presentation is being made makes you feel like you're excluded. You are absolutely included. There's nothing that black folk do that is not include everybody on the planet. Your workshop on Saturday, Miss Linda, will you be doing a brown bag test or anything to be sure that people have the right skin color?
Absolutely not.
If they've got skin, they're welcome, right?
Absolutely.
And even if you've been skinned or feel like you've been skinned because of the way banks are treating you, you're still welcome to come in. And I want to keep that light, because we have to remember how serious the relationship and the absence of truth in the relationship between black people and white people and white people and white people and black people and black people, how strained that relationship is because of our willingness to think that God is only talking to us, and I didn't mean to preach, but Linda, you did such a preaching job just where I just felt the Spirit and feel the Spirit. So Ms. Dolores, continue. Tell us more about what we can look forward to seeing at
the Juneteenth celebration. We will have a variety of people who will be entertaining us from 12 noon until 6 p.m. Of course, I mentioned the mini museum before, and we will have health and information vendors who will be presenting key information for the entire community, regardless of where you fit in the community. We also have children's activities. There will be a bouncer and face painting and craft
And your
table.
bouncer will be anchored very well.
Yes.
Our bouncer will just stay on the ground. It's not one of those flying bouncers like you've seen on video this past week.
We have had a bouncer for the last 12 of the 15 years that we've been
and
at
it's never
Boardwalk.
taken off on its own and flown away with the children inside.
No.
Okay, that's very important.
We pride ourselves in the fact that the Juneteenth celebration is a family event. It is meant for the entire community. It is a free celebration of life and of liberty and of freedom. So everyone is invited, regardless to your ethnic or cultural background. You will find something that will be extremely stimulating at this event.
And some of that stuff may cost a nickel or a dime or a quarter or 50 cents, so bring a little money with you to help the vendors out. You will not get a free piece of peach cobbler, believe me. There will not be any German chocolate cake just given away. Well, maybe somebody will share their piece with you. And the ribs and the hamburgers and all those things, come on out with a little change in your pocket so you can get a little change in your attitude and have a great time. This is Empire Talks Back. We're going to take a very short break. Before we go anywhere, I'd like to acknowledge the Mood Master. Give us a few notes back there. He has been kicking. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but he has really been, Anthony Garcia, our Mood Master, is the man. I do appreciate that.
I mentioned the website.
Okay, Miss Dolores wants to let you guys know that you can get more information about the Juneteenth activity. She's going to give you the website. Do that, please.
Yes, it's www.juneteenthsocal.
That's JUNETEENTH SoCal
.org.
Juneteenth is spelled June, the whole month, June, and then teenth. It's not an easy spelling word. And when you do punch it in, the little automatic guy on the computer, they're going to put the little red line under because they didn't understand it. But guess what? All you got to do is hit your right click and add to dictionary. And then Juneteenth will be as it really is. An accurate word about an accurate situation describing something that we should all pay attention to. This is Empire Talks Back. We'll be right back with some solutions, a little loose talk. I don't know if you've heard about it, but boy, they did a review and a study that says the police in America shoot 2.5 people a day, or more than 2 people a day. And this year, they're basing that on this year, over 187 people have been shot by the police. And like we said, they're not all black. And then most of them, many of them had some kind of weaponry and seemed to be hidden well enough, but I guess it celebrates the fact that maybe some of our police have x-ray eyes. But anyway, we're in charge and we need to demonstrate that, and we're going to take charge right now, take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to solve a problem or two. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. Thank you for being here. Mr. Leonard Evans is on the line. We haven't had much to say to him. We will let him open us up when we come back.
Very good.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
E-Digits. Lock them in for more information, recreation, and guaranteed fun. KCAA 1050 AM.
Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I've had a conversation this morning with Miss Linda Jackson with NID. That's your home ownership advocacy organization. We've been talking with Dolores Amor. She is the founder of the Riverside Juneteenth celebration. 150 years?
Yes.
This is 150 years since, go ahead and tell us that.
Yes, it's 150 years since the end of slavery in Texas.
There's probably a few people in Texas that like to hear that now, but go ahead.
Yes. When the war was over, they sent out a contingency of men, and it was Colonel Gordon Granger. General Gordon Granger, and the Buffalo Soldiers. Okay, again, that word. And we fully expect the Buffalo Soldier organization to be at Juneteenth. But they went out, they told the people that they were free, and of course they celebrated in the street, and they've been doing that ever since. And as people from Texas have moved to various other places around the world, they have taken the idea of Juneteenth and celebrating the 19th of June as their official Freedom Day. And since we do not have an official Freedom Day, there are now people working toward making Juneteenth Liberation Day for African Americans, and of course Liberation Day for everyone, because when one is enslaved, we're all in bondage.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I'm not going to let anybody take 4th of July away from me.
Oh, no,
okay?
we can still celebrate.
No, we have to still celebrate that, because in order for the whole to be acknowledged, we can take the portions of it. But too many African Americans have died, and too many people who forgot that they were African Americans because they could pass have died to make our country the strongest country in the world, and one that we cannot sit back and allow anybody to take over and set it out into an atmosphere where the world hates us. We've got some of those problems, and that means we need to go to our city council meetings, we need to go to vote, we need to express ourselves with all of our legislators so that we can be sure that America is represented by the thoughts and the feelings that we all have, not a few rich people. Don't surrender your citizenship right. Don't surrender the fact that everything that's good in America, we help to do it, and we have to take responsibility for the things that have been done badly, as Miss Linda is out advocating and working to be sure that, yeah, the banks did a crazy job, Wallace, but, you know, and you may hate them, but somebody's got to get out and make it right between them and the people that they've done wrong. And I appreciate you very much for that. There's no room for me being a hellraiser if there's not room for you to come in as an angel and help to make these things right. And the whole freedom curve, Juneteenth, this is why June 19th wasn't good enough. We go all the way to the beginning of June, because as we put these events together and we find that excites other people, and other people want to put the event on, and we don't need to be arguing about how we celebrate our freedom. We need to do it together with as many people that want to do it as possible, so that we can make the newly informed about the freedom issues and the fight that was necessary to make it happen. Because if you were just born in the last 10, 15 years, chances are, you think your mom and daddy's got everything squared away, and that everything that's wrong is their fault, and everything that's right is only because you've been born, that God decided to make it be that way. That's how young, enthusiastic, narcissistic people feel. And that's not you, though, Alexis. Mr. Evans, it's good to hear you cough and join in and let us know that you're there. What is the issue for you this week?
Well, I'd like to restate what you just said about every day, 2.5 people are shot by the police.
Okay.
Let's put that another way, since that half the shooting is hard to figure out. I'll use 2 days and 5 shootings.
Okay, that makes it. That sounds a little easy.
Every 2 days in America, people find a way to provoke the police enough where 5 of them get shot.
That's right. That's right. And one of the ways they can provoke the police is by, some people read laws and try to execute them and negotiate with the police, and I don't advise negotiating with police. But when the policeman walks up to you and say, "Who are you?" People that read the law could say, "Well, that's not your business. What have I done wrong? What is it that makes you want to know who I am? You want my autograph, or what's up?"
I take issue, man.
Please.
And Leonard, with all due respect, provocation is not the situation in all these cases. And
even
many
if
of these,
it is,
hold on.
It is.
In many of these cases, these people are being killed through home invasions. Mm-hmm. These are children that are being killed unawares of what's going on.
Lady calls the police because her son is kind of acting up, and she believes that the police are going to
There's no provocation in a lot of these cases.
Police come, my son's acting a little up. Don't hurt him. I need some help. And the policeman shows up, and the guy's a statistic the next day. well, why are you so rough on the police? Because they get paid too damn much money to be so ignorant about going out to handle what they want to handle. And the fact that they're police does not mean that everybody's got to bend down and do what the hell they say do. I'm the cop. You're supposed to do it. I ask you your name. You better give me your name. I'll tell you what.
What if we assume?
I'm glad that
the police are here to help us. So when they come up and say, well, what is your name or what are you doing? Your question should be, how can I help? Let's just assume that was the question. And everybody can...
Leonard, the cop has got a job. I don't have a job. I just lost my job, and the thrill is gone because my wife left because I don't have a job, can't feed her and the kids, and some idiot's coming up and asking me, what's your name and why are you looking so sad? And I'm going to say, well, what can I do to help you, officer? Excuse me, officer getting $75,000 a year. He's got a good job, and if he wants to get along with people, there's a way for him to do that. And I see the boards lighting up. I don't know if you want to agree with me or disagree. Joe, find out. I'm glad to talk to you, because if I can fire you up and make you decide to go do something about this, whether you think the police are right and you want to go in and explain that to them, have them wear their cameras so they can prove they're right from the beginning of the circumstance. If they're wrong, then we need to put some of their butts in jail and indict them and put them in jail if they're wrong. We've got this. All of these different standards. I didn't mean.
The Bible teaches that.
Did you mean to get me go off like that, Leonard? Did you pull the trigger on me like that? You know how I am. Did you do that on purpose?
I wanted to get that out in the air so that I could put this on it and say that the Bible suggests that you get what you expect. When you deal with a situation like you expect there's going to be trouble, when you go out looking for trouble, guess what, my friend? You will find it. It is there to be found. Just like there are good.
Is that advice? Is that advice for the policeman? Is that advice for the policeman? Or are you saying that we as citizens should?
For all people.
Well, it is. But if I'm paying my security guard, shouldn't I expect my security guard to guard me?
And not attack me.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm not out of line when my security guard.
So how come my expectation is not being met?
Give me one of those new people, Joe.
Wait a minute. If you want to answer that question, ask yourself, out of all the million potential people that could be shot, how do these people get selected? Do they select themselves is my question.
Leonard Evans. I'm trying to calm down here. My friend Leonard Evans.
I'm here.
When you have been driving down the street and you look up and you see what was it, Neil Young and the guy said, the red lights in the window?
That's right.
How does it make you feel?
Like I need to gather myself together rapidly.
Okay, now how did you feel before you saw the red lights in the window? Were you comfortable? Did you law-abiding and happy about yourself? So why is it that when you see the lights in the window, you feel like you've got to get yourself together?
Because I've done something to call attention to it.
Not necessarily.
Oh, so you feel guilty about living here, huh?
Jamal, not in every.
I mean, you just feel guilty that, when the police come.
100% of the cases I'm not talking about.
Could it be that this guy's pulling you over to tell you about what a great driver you are?
Somebody to give grief to. I know that. And they pick people out for no reason at all.
Okay, so this guy that you're paying, a nice salary every year, being sure that he's got good benefits and all of that, has the right to upset your day just because he thought.
Can I suggest something really quick?
Quickly, because we're out of time.
We have given them that right.
No, we didn't give them
that. The bottom line is there are things out there
that
can be supported. You asked about the King's Table. 2 quick things. Jerry Brown's getting ready to try to stop all these folks from going to debtor's prison behind these traffic tickets. Call him up and tell him that you support that. Another one is Ernie Chambers. He's a state senator in Nebraska. He just was successful in repealing the death penalty in a reddest of red states. You should call that man. And both sides did it, but you should. He spearheaded it. Call him and tell him you support
right
what
here
he's
on
doing.
your radio dial, and I tell you what,
example.
you don't want to miss it. I'm not saying don't go to church, but I can say of a whole lot of things that maybe your preacher don't want to talk about. You can catch us on the radio after church if you need to do that. We're here all week. It's a podcast. Go to kcaaradio.com. You can pick it up. Recommend it to your friends. You can tell we love you. We don't mind saying we love you, and we don't mind putting our butts on the line because we love you. God bless you. Thank you. We'll see you next week. I appreciate you spending the time with us. Don't forget, Juneteenth in Riverside this coming Saturday. Don't forget the Homeowners Advocacy Program, Foreclosure No, here in San Bernardino. You can give me a call at 909-384-8131, and I'll tell you exactly where to go and what time to be there. Do that. We'll see you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing. Two, if the creek don't rise. God bless you. Thank you so much. Leonard, be careful.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hi, this is Erin Brinker. I'm out here at the Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Expo. So excited to be out here today. I'm from the morning show, the On the Brink morning show on KCAA AM 1050 with my husband, who's also here, Tobin Brinker, and Bev St. Andrews from Let's Go Shopping with Bev. You got to come out to this event. They just